Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another video by me, indeed. Today, we're going to be looking at a recorded game. Samwise vs Goodspeed? No. oh no, I forgot I downloaded that. I'll open it up, but this isn't the game we're going to be watching. No, I don't think it'll load. It's a fan patch game, and I don't have it currently installed. Yeah, don't have fan patch 1.2 on the system at the moment, but yeah, sort of trolled you there. The two of the best players of all time. No. Today we're going to be looking at this. Sorry. Sort of trolled. That wasn't intentional. No, I didn't realise. I forgot I downloaded that. Yeah, Ross vs SPQL. Let's go ahead and open that up. This is a game. Yes, it is a game that I was sent, indeed, on my Facebook page actually, and both the players in it sent it to me. And this is why it caught my attention, because I must admit I have been sent many a game that I haven't looked at very many of them, and I can sort of only apologise for that, but. Yeah, they both sent it to me, so that caught my attention. I watched it through, and it was genuinely hilarious what happened. It is such a funny game. It's not particularly high level, though, both players being first lieutenants, and even for first lieutenants, these two perhaps are at the lower end of the spectrum, this particular game. They may be better players than are depicted in this video, but certainly there is improvements to be made, and that is what we're going to be sort of looking at this game, where they went wrong, what they could do differently. It's sort of like the Age of Empires 3 coaching style videos that you may have seen me do on the channel, and I thought we'd bring this today because, well, you know, recently there's been a lot of high-level commentary between Zuta and I think the majority of everybody is happy with that. It's just that recently got a shout out on the official Age of Empires Facebook page. Cheeky little shout out. Got to thank the guys behind that. Gained me a decent amount of subscribers actually. I was surprised that, you know, I've been featured on the channel like a couple of times before, but never have I received that many subscribers from it. I was really surprised. So for the guys, for you guys. Oh, 95 wood treasure over here. Not too bad. I think what he could do... Well, no, he already knew it was there. He scouted it with the scout. Go back in the video. You'll see. He already knew it was there. He doesn't need to collect this wood right now. Obviously, he's going for a house. I think if he'd identified that the treasure was there, he had line of sight to it, he could have identified it was there, and then thought to himself, actually, I do not need to collect 100 wood. What he's done is obviously built a market out of his starting crates. He's found 40 coin on the floor. You get those 2 starting treasures on Great Plains. One of them was food, though, so unfortunately he did have to collect 10 coin. But anyway, he collected, 10 coin and some wood for hunting dogs. Got that. And then collected 100 wood for his house, which is now going down right now. But he could have just built the house out of this wood here, and you can see that he's got a settler in queue. He's got his 3 villager shipment in queue. He is overpopped at the moment, but that won't matter until this settler in queue at the moment is created. And of course, he could be constructing that house right now out of that wood he just found. And I think he'd be okay. I think he'd manage to get the house up in time before this villager was created. And even if he didn't, it only idle a TC for a couple of seconds. Definitely would be worth constructing the house there. Absolutely. Gained some new subscribers though, which is nice. And as I was saying, Zuta and I have been doing lots of high-level stuff. And I'm not too sure how familiar you new people are. No offense, if you are really familiar, that's great. You can enjoy all of the content. Just not sure how familiar everyone is with like the specialist language we're using. We really don't go over the basics. It's not, it's not really very new player friendly, those videos. They're more for the people who already know what's going on. So I thought we'd do this, which is sort of lower level. We're going to be covering the basics here. And if this is popular with you guys, then we will definitely consider doing more community sent-in games. I can feature some of those. That's absolutely fine there. Yes, so this player is what he's done so far. Aside from that wood treasure, that was really the only criticism I can have, is everything's fine. Like, the market's on the front, costs 100 wood, the market. It's got more hit points out of any other 100 wood building in the game. It's going to tank up some damage, maybe, being there. It's going to soak sponge. That's good. It's nice to have that on the front. The house is obviously weaker and more functional, more useful. It's on the back, where it is easily defended, and this player obviously scouted his base. Did a nice little oval and has done some really efficient scouting. Most of the map is covered. He found a herd and started to shoot it back towards his town. Everything's fine. Okay, now going up with the quartermaster. That is 400 wood he will have when he hits up. Getting some market upgrades and shoot. Like, everything pretty standard for France. No criticisms here. Nicely done. Switching over to SPQR in the south of the map, in the colour blue. playing as the Spanish here. Let's switch back to Ross, actually. He's scouting him right now, and this is quite nice. You can see here Ross coming in, and he's seen all of these villagers on wood. He's looking for a market. He cannot see a market. So for your higher level players, right now, I would say Ross is sort of expecting a fast fortress style build. He might see this forward villager here and think, actually, perhaps not. But then again, he might not see it. What it looks like here is a fast fortress style build, and I'll explain what that is for newer players. What you will do often as Spain, especially in the vanilla game, the original unexpanded version, Spain was very strong back then. It's not so strong anymore. It was nerfed into the ground. But back then, what players would do is not build a market. It's too slow. Just collect nothing but food, go straight up to Colonial, and as soon as they hit Colonial, you know, well, then send 700 coin as soon as they're up to Colonial. Whereas it doesn't even have that in his deck. And combine that with the 200 coin and the tower that you can age up with, you know, 200 plus 700 is 900. He's already got essentially 100 coin in this inventory right now. That's 1,000 coin. And all of this time, your villagers have been collecting nothing but food. So by the time that 700 coin shipment is collected up, you can pretty much just go straight up to the Fortress Age the moment you hit up to Colonial, just like 30 seconds afterwards or so. And some players will put all their villagers on wood, like you see here, just to get enough 200 wood for a trading post, and that's going to give you more shipments. Of course, XP in Age of Empires 3 does that. That's what it does. It gives you XP, makes your shipments come sooner, and then you basically spam some really efficient, powerful shipments in the Fortress Age in combination with the Fortress Age tech. You've got skirmishes, some really nice stuff. But actually, what he's doing is not that. As you can see, he has not chosen to add in a trading post and has indeed sent 2 forward villagers to build a barracks. And he's going to put a forward outpost here. So this looks slightly more aggressive. And at this point, it could be okay, but just considering the shipments he's been sending, I didn't comment on them at the time, but I saw them and I died a little bit inside. 2 villagers. We'll begin with that. It was his first card. It's not as bad as Team Cheap Barracks, which he did actually send, but 2 villagers. Yeah, we'll go over that in a moment. I just want to switch over to Ross, because there's some important stuff going to be happening right now in the Colonial. I just want to briefly cover what he's up to. 700 wood is his first shipment here. You can see that just about to arrive. There it is. Okay. What he's going to do is, well, obviously, of course, he aged up with 400 wood. And with that wood, he built a barracks, that's 200 gum, and a stable, that's 200 gum. Oh, he added in a, I think, what, you know, finding that extra wood from the wood treasure, he collected for a trading post as well. That's quite nice. I like this addition. That's, I think he can get away with that. Sometimes it will slow you down a bit too much. You might not get as many units out in your first batch because you had to collect more wood and you didn't collect enough food or coin for the first batch of units. But I think he might be able to get away with that, having found some extra wood. But yeah, at the moment he does not have the population to support these. And the way he gets the population is by building houses, which he has done now out of the 700 wood that you sent. Unfortunately, only getting 1 musk there. Ideally, he wants about 4 or 5, and only getting 3 cavalry there. You want about 3 or 4. And, you know, the super ideal world is that you macro like an absolute boss and get 5 from each. And but that hasn't happened here. But, yeah, you know, at this point in time, he's built a barracks, he's built a stable. This gives him some really, you know, he's got infrastructure for both types of units that you might need. And you can react to whatever your opponent does really easily. If your opponent goes up to Fortress, you can follow him up with the 700 coin ship and that'll help you get up. And then you've got both of these buildings here to, you know, you can construct dragoons or whatever. You've got all the infrastructure you need. It's a really nice build. And just walking his cavalry straight through the line of sight of this tower. And some rudder. Very lucky that he was not in the direct pathing of the Rodellos, otherwise he'd have gotten knocked over. However, he is going to go into the Musketeers there. Cavalry going idle. Literally just right-clicked on the ground here and left his cav. Going to actually kill a villager. No, they're getting back there. The Musketeers going into hand combat. You can see that SPQR is not a bad player. He knows that he can put his units into hand combat to manipulate, make sure he gets the ×3 damage multiplier in hand combat. He's not a bad player, but the shipments he's sending suggest otherwise. Very interesting. Let's get back on those. Just wanted to briefly cover what what Ross Boss was up to. Now I'm going to try it on. Coming back in, he knows those Musketeers are probably still going to be there, but still going to try and get a settler killer anyway. There is a weak one he could try and snipe off. I just think that was maybe try somewhere else. Anyway, SPQR, ladies and gentlemen, sent 2 villagers. Terrible shipment. Even for, his home city is quite low, which is why there are so many bad cards in here. But even for a level 10 home city, you can afford 3 villagers, and you should try to get it, because it is the best shipment in the game. No, full stop, period. You do not question that. It's literally a 30% bonus to your entire economy when it arrives, essentially. And the amount of resources 3 villagers will generate over the course of the game is astronomical. 2 villagers is literally a third less than 3 villagers. It's not very good. Here, going to go in for a nice settler kill. If he had an extra cavalry unit, that would certainly help. But here, not going to get the kill. I think there's a little bit of pathing around that tree. He was on the wrong side. He was on this side where my cursor is. If he'd come on this side and blocked the settler trying to get around the tree, he definitely would have killed that. That's something a little bit more advanced that we can cover there to get a settler kill him. Team Cheap Barracks, though, is genuinely horrible. It's the worst card in his deck, and I cannot believe he sent it. It reduces the cost of barracks for your entire team by 50%, which makes them 100 wood rather than 200, which for him is only a 100 wood saving. 300 wood is a better card than that, and that sucks. This is, like, even worse. Sure, he might build more barracks over the course of the game, but it's still only going to save him at the maximum 500 wood, right? If you build that many barracks. And, you know, sending it that early on for a bonus, like 20 minutes, 25 minutes into the game, is just not worth it. You might as well just save that shipment for something in the Colonial Age. 700 wood, you get all of that in one go. And no questions asked. And yeah, now he sent 5 Rodelleros as his first card. I want to cry. Like, it's just done nothing. It's sat there and done nothing. I mean, yeah, it's sort of like a 3 Huss shipment. It's worse because they're not as good at raiding. But really, even 3 Huss isn't so good if you're not going to use them. Yeah. And now, like, he's not playing, like, it's just not very efficient. He hasn't played aggressively. This is not like a crossbow pike aggressive build, and nor is it a boomy build either. He's just done neither. It's a very in-between build, and because of that, it's going to be bad. And you can see, actually, Ross Boss just playing defensively and has more units just because of his economy, which is absolutely sick. SPQR on 25 villagers, bearing in mind that 4 villager shipment, which is bad. There's a 5 villager shipment in the game, which he does not have. The game, Low Home City, we might be able to let him off. But he basically has 22 villagers. He's only just got the extra 4, so 22 villagers, we'll say, for now. Ross, however, is on 26. And that Carrera de Bois, bring up my calculator, 26 multiplied by 1.25 is 32.5 villagers, plus he has hunting dogs and steel traps. I don't even know if Blue has. Anyway, here, coming in with his extra units, saw that Blue sort of tried to push in, can we call it that? And that wasn't too good for him. And Ross Boss thought, oh, I've got way more units, I'll just push out now. Obviously, if he'd scouted his opponent, you can sort of identify that sooner, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that he didn't push out. He thought, maybe he saw this Rax and this just taking loads of units here. They're just dying. I mean, that's like 1, 2, is that 3, 4? Is he going to have 5 units down? 5, basically 6 dead units for free. Like, literally for no reason. They were sieging down a barracks. I mean, if you're, like, losing units like he is now, but at the same time as shooting your opponent's units and they're losing units, then fine. That's absolutely fine. But if you're, like not... Like, what he could do is siege down the racks when the blue units come in. If you're looking, just then, like, attack move, and then everything attacks, and then he'll be like, oh, well, you've got more units than me, I can't fight, and then he'll try and run away. Then you can go back to sieging the racks down. But, you know, this bonus of having such a stronger economy is just been lost. Like, 600 resources worth of stuff. That just nullifies his economy bonus right there, just to losing random units, playing a bit sloppy. Anyway, managing to bring down that barracks, which isn't such a big deal since Team Cheap Barracks has been sent. But if it hadn't been sent, if Team Cheap Barracks had indeed been some other shipment, like, I don't know, 5 villagers, he would have more units, and he probably wouldn't have lost his forward in the first place. I mean, sure, he's going to replace it cheaply, but yeah, that's not really the point. So, there's that. Anyway, Ross has sent 700 wood is his first card, that's pretty standard, followed by 700 food, I believe. I'm not a huge fan of that, but then again, I can't criticise him too much. He may have wanted it just in case. I mean, he did see a forward barracks and a tower, and he thought, you know, maybe my opponent's going to use that as a forward outpost to ship his military units to. And I might want to get some extra musketeers out pretty quickly with the 700 food. But ultimately what those musketeers did was just sit there, much like the Rodellero shipment. He could have sent, losing 2 villagers here, 3 villagers there. And down here, going to siege down this barrack, completely unopposed. This is what, like, I'm not a huge fan of leaving these units over here, but actually doing some pretty good damage here. Let's, like, 4 villagers down. Is that going to be 5? I think that's 5 Carreras. Ooh, 5 Carreras. What a pro. And down here now, taking more units, lossing, I don't know, 1, 2 maybe, I have no idea, 3, 4, 5, plus 10s everywhere. Now he's just in. Okay, we'll count that as 5. So overall he's lost, well, like, 11 units. A conservative estimate would be 10 units. That one just there didn't count because it was town centre fire. That's inevitable. Anyway, we'll say 10 units. Yeah, that's better. Now he's coming back in, shoot him again, then go back to sieging. And now you can sort of leave. Oh, an 8 pikeman shipment from... I don't like the 8 pikeman shipment very much. Yeah, it was an 8 pikeman shipment. But because it doesn't really do much. I mean, just the shipments just don't seem to be hugely efficient here, but we're only using 1 unit, some nice unit control there, doing a lot of portion damage to the barracks, which is good. And here you can see the rest of Blue's musketeers have sort of come back home to save the other barracks. You can see purple did try to siege it down, but actually losing even more units. I'm not even sure how many he lost there. It doesn't look too good. But yeah, just cars, 5 Rodelleros and 8 pikes just don't do very much compared to what Ross has been sending, which was 700 wood. That was houses, that was infrastructure. You know, that gives you the ability to be responsive. Market upgrades maybe. 700 food is arguable. It might have been a good decision because of the potential rush that Spain could have brought in. He's being a bit conservative. But ultimately, 4 villagers would have been better there. That's a really efficient card. 700 coin, he's converted into like more units, hussars, and which is going to be for you raising at this point in the. Oh my goodness me! Okay, I think he's just trying to escape his musketeers, walk them away, get them away, and has ultimately walked into the path of, you know, they're just out of position and just died, and that's really bad for him. Really, really bad. I mean, he could have taken a safer route back, certainly. Anyway, 700 coin that he sent for these hussars. I think having hussars out at this point in the game, you can afford to do that normally, because you should have a mass of musks, and you can use, you know, having some hussars out at this point in the game means you can raid. You don't want too many, because obviously your opponent's only making musketeers as well, and hussars are very weak to musks, but having 5 huss to raid with can be really good. You've got the outplay potential there. You can sort of deal a lot of damage, but ultimately here I think more musks is better, because he has just lost so many units. I mean, he didn't know he was going to lose these units here. I guess he didn't lose these. I didn't think he knew he was going to lose any units, but ultimately his economy has been completely nullified. At this point, 28 villages, SPQR on 31, 28, right? And 28 multiplied by 1.25 is equal to 35 vills. Remember, everybody, that not only is he ahead right now because of his economy, but also he had 5 other villages that pretty much died in this location. So he should be like 40 villages right now, which is absolutely insanely far ahead of blue. But, you know, lost those, unfortunately. Also lost a lot of the military as a production of his economy, and just to being sloppy, and this could cost him quite a lot. Oh my goodness, 2 outpost wagons. I've not even got words. It's just a bad shipment. Outposts are 250 wood each, and you get 2 of them. That's 500 resources. Shipment in the Colonial Age is 700 resources. Just take this out of your deck. I mean, outposts are good because you can garrison 25 units in them, and, you know, you just put that up where your hunt is. You can pretty much defend that. I really want to be building outposts because it's just the shipment is inefficient. If it was 3 outposts, or maybe 2 outposts and 200 wood, that'd be fine, but it's not, so yeah, it's not so good. But yeah, I think here, well, now that these outposts are up, blue can clearly see that actually he's got a larger army because of his, you know, his line of sight from the outpost, which is very big. But I think he could have known that a little bit sooner, and if he'd known that a bit sooner, he could have pushed in a bit sooner here, and pushed purple off his hunt here, and that's going to mean that's quite a lot. Having lost so many units, he might not actually be able to defend this hunt, and if he can't defend the hunt, not only are the villagers going to have to walk somewhere else, I don't know, let's take a look at his line of sight and see what he has. So he knows this exists. Oh, he's just got his trading post upgrade, playing quite efficiently still, but it's just the fact that he loses so many units is the problem here. But yeah, he has got hunt, he knows he can go elsewhere, but that'll take a long time to walk there, and he'll lose a lot of resources and therefore lose a lot of units. Here, using the villagers to fight, which is definitely a good decision. French villagers at least, have a lot of hit points, especially if you upgrade them at the market, and the same for their attack as well. If they are there and can fight where they are, that's good. So usually you can use them defensively, and that's quite nice, losing 2 units there. 2 towers up, though, there's still an advantage he has in this location. Doing some work. Yeah, but villagers, you don't want to use them aggressively because people don't realize how bad it is to move your villagers around. Walking time in this game is absolutely huge, the amount you lose. Just a little bit of a skirmish here, and I think ultimately, you know, the units just not being back, or like there was a couple targeting this tower here, which was a bit weird, and that villager there. Yeah, yeah. Blue retreated his units because, of course, he saw that those villagers were indeed fighting. Doesn't want to fight them because, of course, they are, you know, going to bolster Purple's army and get back. And also, if he walks back, he knows that Purple is idling his food income, and that's good for him. So why not just walk back and then let the villagers sort of return to work, then walk back in again and harass, which is actually what I think he ought to be doing. He's got quite a large mass of units there, probably more on the way, and he could just knock the food entirely away from him. That's something he definitely could do right there. But yeah, I think people don't realize, people criticize Age of Empires 3. They say it's so much easier. You don't have to build drop sites. That's bad. Like the game is silly because of that. I don't know. I think that's just a a way of thinking that you just like the old style of Age of Empires. I think this is no better, it's no worse, it just means you focused on different things in the game. And, yeah. It's still, though, people don't realise how much walking time actually matters. Obviously, you want to re-pit your wood camp and stuff like that in Age of Empires 2 and Mythology, and you know, you have to minimise walking around. Whereas Age of Empires 3, you have to do the same. People do not realise. Anyway, Purple taking his villagers off there, walking all the way back here. Doesn't think he can hold that food site. Actually, I think he can hold it. He might as well just stay there. He's got no reason to leave at this point in time. Anyway, Ross starting to run out of shipments. Choosing to send Economic Theory over anything else. 600 wood could be okay. I mean, what would he do with it, really, though? Gonna lose more units for free here. Sieging down a house. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the floor there. Plus there's Explorer. Good lord, there's some 3 Musketeers in the back there. It's just been losing units all game. I think, yeah. At this point in the game, SPQR could just continue to create units and win. That's fine, but I also think he's, at this point in the game, secured enough of a military lead that he can be very comfortable about going up to the next age where he can get skirmishes, which are just going to absolutely annihilate Musketeers. They have such a long range with a ×2 damage multiplier against heavy infantry, and obviously the way that you would respond to skirmishes is with Hussars, and obviously in the Fortress Age you have Dragoons, which are absolutely insane ranged cavalry, very fast moving, faster than Hussars, and have a ×3 damage multiplier against cavalry. So Skirmish and Dragoon just absolutely annihilates people in the Colonial Age. And a lot of the time you are thinking in any matchup like this with like prolonged colonial war, you're thinking, can I get up to Fortress? Can I afford to do that? Because it's such a big investment. And those pikes coming back in, going to do some work here. I don't think it's going to matter though, because of course these 10 Musketeers are going to pop out and stop that. But then again, you might have some nice unit control. Obviously, the barracks has been repaired since last time, hoping to come back in and destroy it again. He might, if he goes now, he'd be fine. But actually, the unit control not so good. Not realising his units, they're going to lose those. That 8 pikeman shipment and really not doing anything. Yeah. At this point in the game, Blue though has a larger military, as you can see. He's got Musketeers. Bring them all together. Start pushing down houses or something. Actually, coming over here, where all of the food is coming in, he's obviously not being able to collect this one, or has chosen not to. Going to bring the Hussars over to here. This is fine. Going to bring the units over as well. The Musketeers, I'm not too sure this is a good idea, but since there are so... Normally it's not a good idea is what I mean to say, but since there are so many villagers here, this is absolutely huge. Like, normally, like, what will happen is there'll be a tower here, and there's no tower. Why is it there's no tower? Just in all of his food, literally his entire economy here is just... Has he even noticed? Yes, he's just noticed they're going to start moving away. But if there was a tower here, just garrison, these Musketeers wouldn't be able to do anything. They might actually siege down the tower. Since his units are so far away, then perhaps. But I think he would have started sending them sooner. And obviously they would be here. They'd be in the tower. They'd arrive just in time. And that'd be you know, if he had to defend that, if he had more units, of course. He has been losing a lot for free. But it's just no tower. Why is there no tower? And over here, Blue is going to lose all of his villagers as well. And I think actually Blue is going to come off worse here. It's such a weird trade. Both players sacrificing literally everything. Oh, like obviously these do not have as much HP as say the Carrera de Bois, which have significantly more hit points. They also have a 40% ranged resist, meaning they actually tank. And that's partly why they're good in combat, because they tank up range damage. These villagers don't. They're all going to go down, and it's just trading their economies. This is really... Like, what do you do from this point in the game? Like, you both have no economy, but you've all got infrastructure and an army. That is interesting. Like, here, though, you know, Blue obviously now going to start sieging down the town centre. That's where, you know, I think actually might be better off killing buildings, killing the infrastructure. This barracks is certainly damaged. You could definitely do that. But Ross here, he knows his entire economy, 14 villages, is in there. That's all he's got. And he's actually choosing to go straight to his opponent's base. And perhaps he wants to kill his opponent's economy. But, you know, he knows his economy is in the town centre. But he does not know if SPQR's economy is. See, it's not. There's no villages in that town centre. There's only 2 here, which are about to go down. The rest of his 10 villages, there's 9 here. There must be 1 on the map somewhere else. They're not in the town centre here. I think this is the wrong decision. The only redeeming factor about his decision to go to this base here is the 700 food on the floor. I think what Ross ought to have done is kill all the villagers in this area where he's raiding, and then go back to his town in time for dinner to save his basically his economy, which he knows is there. He does not know if his opponent's economy is in the town centre. And here, you know, gonna release those settlers from the town centre before it goes down. Just make, you know, trying to escape them a little bit earlier, which is of course, escape isn't a verb. I don't think, well, it is, but you can't use it in the way that I've been using it this entire commentary. Anyway, that's not the point here. And you know, trying to escape them a little bit earlier. I'm still got to stop saying that, but. Try and catch the opponent off guard before it actually goes down. But ultimately, only 1 villager there 2 villages. He has 2 villages. This one here and this one here. Even in terms of, like, actual infrastructure as well, like, there is so much more in Purple's base. He was definitely in a position to go back. He was mid-map. He could have killed all the villagers in the raid, then gone home. He had Minutemen in his town center. He had, of course, his infrastructure here, which he could pop units out right away. And the town center dealing damage. Minutemen, if I've said that. And you've got the defending advantage. Your units, as soon as they're trained, can start fighting again. Whereas the blue ones have to walk across the map to defend. I think defending would have been so much better. Especially, there's just so many houses and stuff. There's even a trade route in here. Like, blue does not have that. And there's just less buildings in this base, because for some reason he's built them all over the map. There's a war dog there, it's not a building. There's a house there, there's a tower there. A trading post, that belongs to Purple though. But you've got, like, random houses and a barracks and a stable down here. Like, normally this is bad. You would not build your houses in these locations. Don't do that. Because in a prolonged colonial stalemate, which it should be, they should both have economies, you would actually, late game, Purple would just, you know, have 10 musks or whatever, just a couple of units walking around the map, sieging down buildings, or half his army in one area, and, you know, and perhaps the other half in one. Normally you don't want to split your army up. You'll have, like, most of your army in one area, just in case you get out of position and have, like, a couple of units sieging stuff down. But basically, blue would not be able to defend these buildings, and they would all be lost, or a lot of them would be, and it's just, you know, that won't happen if they're in your base. So, I think you could also take that into account. Ross could, and go back and defend here. So, at this point in the game, what is going on? Well, both players have basically no base. All they have is an army. Blue is certainly in a stronger position with regards to, he does still have random buildings dotted around the map, and it would take Purple a long time to actually kill them all, and I think actually here that Blue will be able to go back and perhaps defend them. But anyway, Ross has 2 villages, and that's it. SPQR has 9 villages. He is further ahead. He managed to salvage his despite that massive raid here, and you know, still has infrastructure. 70 population actually, though, is starting to construct barracks. I'm not too sure about this location since yeah, they're being sieged down. But I'm not too sure about barracks either. I mean, certainly they're Team Sheep barracks coming into play, everybody. He knew this would happen. No, it's still a bad guy. But yeah, like he can't train any more units here because he just doesn't have enough pop slots. I mean, he's certainly got a lot of houses. There's that. Anyway. Army, though. SPQR, 49 musketeers plus his explorer and a couple of cavalry, whereas Ross Boss is currently on 37 musketeers and about twice the amount of cavalry, so he could certainly do some raiding with these. Both of them. Looks like that's what they both really need to do. I mean, at this point in the game, they both have a significantly more time, and they can spend more time to do things on things such as raiding, since they don't have an economy to macro anymore. Yeah, you can raid with these, and that looks like what he's doing. Of course, you don't need to go to the hunt, because if we turn the fog of war on, you see the food going down in that animal. It'd be going down a lot faster if there were villagers on it, but he can scout out the trees and the coin mines, and that is indeed what he's going to do at this point. SPQR has no idea how many villagers Ross had. For all he knows, he could have about 9, the same as him. But, yeah, he doesn't know that. Anyway, Ross does have the advantage of stealing that 700 food in his opponent's base. That gives him, you know, pretty much, plus he's a trading route, everybody. He has pretty much enough resources to make 15 musks, which would even up this fight completely. And if he has good micro in the fight, maybe he can make that engagement favourable and he could come out on top. And then with that army, he could certainly pressure his advantage, especially if his hussars, which actually aren't doing anything, had found, like, if they came down here and found these villages, if they were looking for villages actively, they would kill all of these, unless, like, 5 musks popped out right then. But even then, I think it'd be, you'd still get some decent kills in. The problem is, though, that he cannot spend these resources. Ross does literally have 0 infrastructure, whereas, you know, here, since Blue has the larger army right now, he's able to sort of defend these 2 houses. And I believe he has, yeah, he's got these 2 houses down here, which will go down soon and are stable. They won't last forever. But, you know, he does have infrastructure. He can sort of train stuff. Town Centre now going down for Ross. Okay, sorry, for SPQR. Investing in the Town Centre. That's good. Don't get me wrong. But at this point in the game, you know, this trading route is upgraded. Here, going to come in for another little fight. Can try and siege down their houses. Definitely the right decision here. But taking a musketeer 2.5, maybe if you count the damage on these, 3, 4 musketeer. And at this point, you don't have an economy to replace them, so I think you're definitely you wanted to get that house down. It was low HP, and I think that was a good decision. But at this point, I think actually maybe the wood he spent on the town centre could have been better on these trading sites, and certainly has a larger army, could capture this one and build that, and obviously the resources that come in. They pay for themselves so quickly. They're so much better than villagers' trading sites, like for 200 wood compared to what a villager does. And obviously, you already start with a town centre at the beginning of a game, so you don't really think about it. But when you have to build one, it's 600 wood before it'll start making villages, which are 100 food each. I don't want to say it's inefficient, because that's a retarded comment to make, but it is indeed. I'd like to see him building the trading posts, is what I'm saying here. Anyway, he has a 9 villager economy, and he has a slight military lead, and obviously Purple might be able to get some extra units out if he gets the infrastructure up, but at this point, yeah, he's almost there. He's got 3 houses up, definitely has all the wood he needs for the remaining houses. The 2 villagers constructing these now, and those musketeers will come out, and he could certainly even it up, but he's still got to wait for that, and at this point, obviously, town centre is now up, and villagers start going to be coming out. He needs to make something happen pretty soon, but at this point, scores are very even, and the game is very even. Yeah, at this point, the players need to be raiding. This blue is definitely doing the right thing, looking for villages where he can on the coin and the wood. Here, just sieging down. I mean, okay, he's going to siege stuff down. With the hussars, it's better than them doing nothing, but ultimately, they could be definitely achieving a bit more than that. Rosbos also on 2 home city shipments stacked up. Not that he can use them, because you need a drop-off point for them, but even then, there's nothing left. All he can really send, I believe, is 600 wood. Which would be nice. He could obviously build some infrastructure out of that, but also hand cavalry hit points, which is not quite so good. Losing a lot of units there. More free losses, almost taking out the outpost. You can really see how much just losing free units. Spain is just not as good as France. And I think in this game he was trying to play it colonial agenda. And if you're going to do that as Spain, you're just not going to be as good, even if you play max efficiency. Because France just start with more villages. They start with 5 Carreras, which is the equivalent of 6.25 villages. You already have, like, a 2.5, you know, a quarter of a villager more. They have a 3 Carrera shipment, which is better than 3 villages. And he didn't even send 3 villages. He sent 2 villages. And they have a 4 Carrera shipment, which is also better than villages for the same reason. So there's that. And also, France have a 400 wood politician, whereas Spain does not. They have to send 500 food, and actually 400 wood is probably like the equivalent of 600. Oh my god, 600 food. All gonna walk in there losing lots of units. It doesn't look too good. I think what he's trying to go back to his barracks. He wants to meet up with the units that are going to be trained there, but walked in too far. And because he walked, taking lots of damage as he walked in, and then when he was there, he's like, oh, I'm already in this fight now. If I walk, I'm going to lose more units. I'm going to have to commit to this. But then realised, actually, I can't commit to this. I'm just going to lose. I'm going to have to wait for these units to pop out of the barracks. So he retreats a bit and then loses units on the way out. And I think Ross, what he wants to do, he might be okay if he hadn't lost any units there. And if he could get these 10 musks, which he has, plus the 5 that he's going to get, obviously the coin will come from the trading site, and then converge these 15 musks that he had with the rest of his army where he didn't lose any units, then he might be able to take on this fight, and that was what he was waiting for the past, like, 4 minutes of the game. But here, you know, those 10 musks, 15 musks, whatever it was, being caught out of position, and ultimately these not being there to help, but, oh, that is... What a game! I think there are so many times that Purple could have just won that. Like if he'd gone back and defended, if he'd not lost these villages, he probably would have ended up winning. It just goes to show how inefficient play. You should always look at your army wherever it is. And that is indeed what you should be doing. Yes, so if you enjoyed this video, leave it a like. Let me know what you think, because I can do more of these if you're not if you want to see more videos like this rather than the high-level commentary from Thingy-ma-bob, what is it, Saturday Smackdown, then fair enough. Just let me know. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will, indeed, see you all next time.